So you're living in Hamilton, you've built up some equity, maybe your family's growing, or maybe you've been doing really well and it's time to level up. And so you're wondering if Burlington maybe is the next step. I get this question a lot. Is Burlington actually worth it, or are you just romanticizing it because it has cleaner streets? Well, this video is going to give you an honest breakdown of both cities so you can make a decision on whether or not Burlington is the right move for you. Let's start with where you are financially because that shapes everything. If you bought a detached home in Hamilton maybe 5-10 years ago, you're sitting on some equity somewhere in the $150,000 to $250,000 range, depending on your neighborhood, that's real money sitting there. The question comes down to, should you level up to a place in Hamilton, maybe Ancaster or Dundas, somewhere on the mountain? Or should you look at making the move to Burlington? Here's the market reality. The average home price in Hamilton as of now, spring 2026, is about $725,000. Now, it can differ greatly depending on neighborhood and area and property type. Homes in Ancaster and Dundas can definitely be well over $1 million, where homes on Hamilton Mountain can be in that $600,000, $800,000 range. And then you have areas like Mount Hope, Stony Creek. These can all push the price up, as opposed to somewhere in central Hamilton where the average price may be quite a bit lower. And then over in Burlington, the average price currently is just between $1 million and $1.1 million. Those numbers are all down, obviously, quite a bit from the height, anywhere from 20 to 25, 26%, where you might have seen average prices in Burlington closer to 1.3. So yes, you might be taking a haircut on your current property, but you're leveling up. That's the most advantageous spot to be in when purchasing a home in a declining market, because you're getting less for yours, but you're also getting a bigger house at that same discount. So you come out better in the end. But keep in mind, that's not a small gap between those prices. And obviously, like I said, they depend on area, but we're using averages here. So you're looking at, anywhere from $400,000 to $500,000 gap in those purchase prices alone. So if you're taking your Hamilton equity and you're moving into a Burlington detached, you're not just upgrading, you're also significantly taking on more mortgage. So your carrying costs across the board are going to go up. Your property taxes will go up. We'll talk more about that in a minute because that one surprises a lot of people. But if you are coming out of Hamilton with a strong equity position and maybe some savings on top of it, Burlington can work. But you don't want to stretch yourself too thin. That's a whole other conversation, but I'll tell you straight up that I've seen people try to do this upgrade, move to Burlington, only to find themselves house poor in 6 months because they didn't fully grasp the carrying costs moving forward. Now back to property taxes, which can sometimes catch people off guard. Hamilton has one of the highest property tax rates in Ontario, right now sitting about 1.19%, where Burlington is at a rate of 0.77%. And you might think that if Hamilton homes are cheaper, then that kind of balances out. But let me show you what it actually looks like. On an $825,000 Hamilton home, you're paying roughly $9,800 a year in property tax. On a $1.3 million Burlington home, at a lower rate, you're paying about $10,000 a year. So yes, they are close, but you're paying more in Burlington. So it's not going to save you any money because that rate is lower. And the home costs more. You put more up front. So just make sure you do the math before you make the move. Okay, so yeah, Burlington costs more, but what do you get for that premium? There's a few things, and I want to be completely fair because Burlington is genuinely a great city, but it's a very different lifestyle. The waterfront is world class. Spencer Smith Park and the trails along the lake. If you're someone who likes outdoors and want to feel like you're living in a postcard, this is the place for you. The schools are legitimately better on average. The Fraser Institute puts Burlington schools averaging around 6.7 out of 10, where Hamilton is at a 6. And that gap matters if you're choosing based on school quality. Though Hamilton has pockets like Ancaster and Dundas that compete with Burlington school programs. Next, the commute to Toronto is obviously quicker. Burlington Go gets you to Union Station in about 40 minutes, and they have trains that run all the time, whereas in Hamilton, throughout the day, sometimes you only have buses. So if you are commuting for work, if you have to go into the office a few times a week, that makes a difference. And that can count for a lot, even if you're paying more to be there. And then there's the general vibe, right? Burlington is calm, clean, it's more predictable. And that's not a knock. For a lot of families, that's exactly what you're looking for. Less noise, fewer surprises, no trains in the middle of the day. Overall, a more suburban feel. But what are you giving up by leaving Hamilton? Hamilton definitely has more character that Burlington lacks. James Street North, all the waterfalls, the food scene, the festivals, and art crawls. Hamilton has a creative energy right now that Burlington just can't compete with. And one more time, I'll mention the food scene. So if you love that part about living in Hamilton, you should really factor that in when making your decision. Because Burlington will definitely feel more quiet than you expect. Which again can go back to one of the main reasons why you might be considering Burlington. Better schools, safer streets, more suburban. Burlington is genuinely suited for families. People who want a plug-and-play suburban setup. Like I said, schools are consistently strong strong across the board. The crime rates are lower, and the infrastructure for family life, rec centers, parks, activities, it's all dialed in. Now, Hamilton is not a bad place to raise a family. I'm doing it myself. It really depends on the area that you're in, though. You got Westdale, Dundas, Ancaster, parts of the mountain. Those are solid family-friendly areas with good schools. And not to knock downtown Hamilton, because areas like Crown Point are great for families, but you want to be careful about where you specifically live. So the truth is, if you're already in a good Hamilton neighborhood and your kids are already in schools, are you going to want to uproot them? On the flip side, though, if you've been in a neighborhood that you feel has plateaued and hasn't been going the direction that you'd like it to see, this might be something you want to consider. But when you have a family, it's no longer just your decision. You have to understand how it's going to affect the others in your family. And one other thing on that, Hamilton definitely has more of an upside when it comes to real estate appreciation. There are lots of listings sitting on the market, so there's deals to be had. And there really is room for prices to go up in the future, where Burlington is already sitting on that high end. Yes, they've come down from the peaks and they may go back up, but you're not going to see the same percentage of appreciation over time. So what's the verdict? You're going to want to make that move to Burlington if you commute to Toronto 2, 3, 4, 5 days a week and it's eating up your time. If you have kids and the school quality really matters to you, obviously it matters to all of us, but if it's top priority and you're looking to get into some of the best schools, this could be a good option for you. You've got strong equity coming out of your Hamilton home, and you can absorb the higher carrying costs without stretching yourself too thin. And you want that quieter, more polished suburban lifestyle. But you're going to want to stay in Hamilton and upgrade within Hamilton if you love the character and energy of the city and you don't want to give that up. If you want more house for your money and you plan to build up more equity over the next 5 to 10 years. Also, if your finances don't have that cushion that Burlington might require, there's no point in putting yourself under undue financial pressures. Consider Ancaster, Dundas, or a strong Hamilton Mountain neighborhood. You may get everything you need without the Burlington cost. Neither answer is wrong. It really comes down to where you are in life and what you're looking to get out of a city. So if you are seriously considering making this move, the biggest mistake I see buyers make throughout the whole process is not having a clear picture of what their finances look like. The mortgage, the taxes, the closing costs, the updated monthly carrying costs of everything. These are things you really want to look at and dial in before you make any major decisions. Step one, outside of talking to a realtor like myself, would be to speak to a mortgage broker to really get a clear picture of where you stand.